Hello and welcome to the Collapse Experiment. So Nintendo decided to be greedy. Word came out several days ago revealing the new Switch 2. A bigger, and I'm going to say slightly better, version of a console that they already have out. And I am not a video game guy. If you looked at the gaming systems that I own, which none of them hook up to the internet, I wish my laptop would do the same thing. I have, and I don't know which one is the newest. I have the Nintendo Wii and a PS3. That is about as high-tech and up-to-date as I have gotten, and I hardly ever play them. And when I do, it is usually Mario Kart on the Wii. Trying to get my kids to play them now is nearly impossible because my 7-year-old has discovered Roblox, which I've already Robloxed that shit off of her tablet, and somehow it keeps popping up on there. Apparently, instead of just being a responsible parent and making sure it's not on the tablet to be played at all, I have to somehow navigate her through the World Wide Web of pedophiles and child predators. Fun, because that's an easier road to take. But back to the Switch 2. Apparently, people are really excited about the advanced processor. Of course, it's been 7 years. Of course, it's going to have better features. And you know, we do have a Switch. I did get my daughter a Switch, which she hardly ever, rarely ever plays. I'm so glad I made that investment along with the games that I had purchased that she never ever plays. So they've had this console out for 7 years. Now they're coming out with the Switch 2. On the upside, you can play all the old games on the new console, and the games that come out for the new one, they're going to have versions available for the old one. I guess when you've had the same thing out for several years at this point, with people owning multiple copies of the same console to play different games as they please and invest all that money and time into said thing, perhaps, yes, it is a good idea to have games available for that as well, and to not stop producing them for the sake of pushing out the new one. So immediately when the cost of the Switch 2 came out, people were griping, lower the costs, lower the costs. I guess even the new PlayStation is cheaper than this thing. And then the features. We got to talk about the features. Apparently, one of the toggle buttons, switches, joysticks, whatever they're called today, you have to pay in order to use it. Yes, the thing that comes on your new Switch. In order to unlock the ability to use that, you have to pay extra for that thing that otherwise is just going to sit there. It gets even better. The video game that they designed in order to guide you through how to use the features on your new Switch 2, you have to pay $60 for. The intro game, the one that teaches you how to use the thing that you just bought. Now you think that would just come installed with it for free, right? No, you have to download and pay $60 to play that. Otherwise, there's just some stuff you're probably not going to know. Games are $80 to $100. The new Mario Kart, which I believe this feature was even on the Wii, where you could play online against other people in Mario Kart if you had a fast enough internet connection. Some of the upsides, if you own a game, you can invite other people to play the same game, and they're able to play it regardless of whether or not they own a copy. But they can only do that if you invite them to play. And no, they don't have a copy of the game afterwards. It is only with co-players. So I think that's a nice feature. That was something I wasn't too happy about with the Switch, where my daughter was able to play Pokemon Scarlet and Violet with other kids, but they all had to have a copy of the game. And then they would invite each other to play in the same space. And then they would drive around on their Maridons and Coridons and didn't really do a whole hell of a lot. I think it was just fascinating idea of they're all playing in the same world, if you will. But the Switch 2, it sounds like Nintendo has just become incessantly greedy to the point where things that would normally be free or available to people who made the investment into their new system, perhaps, I don't know, a tutorial video that is put on YouTube for free explaining the different features of the Switch 2, which ultimately that's what's going to happen. There's going to be somebody that buys it, somebody that buys the $60 game, and then uses said $60 game to create a YouTube video showing everyone, this is how you do it. Here's my free thing. Give me some clicks and views. Screw you, Nintendo. We all know this is going to happen, right? It's just who's going to be the first one to do it. Who's going to get those millions of views? Who the fuck is going to buy it after the first week? Because at this point, Nintendo's response to, wow, this is really expensive. Nobody really likes the price. You haven't sold us on it. Their response was, you can always buy the Switch 1. I don't think these assholes realize I, myself, not a gamer, waited 7 years to buy a Switch. And when I did buy one, was it new? No. I bought mine used. Wiped out the memory, started from scratch. My daughter now has her own Switch with new controllers and everything and several games. And no, I was not paying full price for it. Well, I have a feeling there's not going to be a whole hell of a lot of Switch 2s out there in the next 5 to 7 years. Because the way that they're doing it, this may end up being the, the Wii U? Except, the Wii U just... If it wasn't for the Wii U, you wouldn't have the Switch. But it was because of the screw-ups of the Wii U, we ended up with the Switch. And the Switch 2, it may be... What was it? The Sega Game Gear? It was too expensive. It was ahead of its time. Nobody could afford it, but everybody thought it was cool as shit. A colored Game Boy with better graphics and games I really want to play. This could be the Game Gear. It could be the PSP. The cost and the way the economy is right now, could be the whole deciding factor as to whether or not this is a success. And I have a feeling that when they start coming out with games and they see that the versions for the Switch are flying off the shelves and they're stuck with a bunch of Switch 2 games, of course the response is going to be, well, we just stopped making the Switch version and everybody will have to switch over to the Switch 2 in order to be able to play these games. And I don't think that's going to make a difference. I think they're shooting themselves in the foot. And this isn't going to turn out well for Nintendo. You can't expect people to dish out this kind of money on a new system when the economy has gone to shit and your main audience, for one, if you're selling in the US, you have an entire generation right now that can't get good paying jobs. Some of them have stopped looking for good paying jobs. They're in debt, student loan debt. Like, who is paying for this? Who is your audience? Because it sure as hell is not me. No, I am not one of those video game guys. I could not give a crap. And I'm hearing this, and I see a bunch of people who are excited, but at the same time, those excited people can't afford it. They can't. They love talking about it. They're interested. They think it's going to be cool as hell. But they're going to be the ones watching other people on YouTube playing the stuff, wishing they could. But it's just going to end up turning into video game porn is what it's going to be. I don't really want one. It's kind of a pain in the ass and it costs too much. Video game porn. I just like seeing other people play with it. Now, I think Nintendo has made a huge mistake and overcalculated. And I know that they probably put a ton of money into it. But they're really going to have to play around with their numbers if they think that they're going to get any kind of return on this. Because I think their sales are going to be too low. I think they're going to have that big first week when it first comes out. And those are the people who are going to be playing it, showing it online. They're going to anticipate those people going on places like TikTok and YouTube and promoting like, oh yeah, I got it. These are the new features. Oh, this is totally awesome. And they're going to expect those people to sell it to an audience who can't afford it. And I think the cost itself is going to kill the thrill of this new system coming out. And there's going to be the few people that save up for it. But all these features of playing with other people, not going to be there. So my daughter, she's got Pokemon for her Switch. Now, when she was playing with other kids, she had to borrow one from somebody else at a place. That was the only time she's ever used that feature. This whole thing of her playing Pokemon with other kids with her Switch has never happened. She's never interacted with any other kids with her Switch. And when she leaves the house and goes on a trip where her cousins have a Switch, and she could possibly play games with them between their Switches, she doesn't even take it with her. And granted, you know, it's my daughter, and she may not just be big on the whole idea of playing games like that, but I think they're overestimating all of this. They're making it too expensive for their main audience, who quite frankly does not have the capital, the money at this time to pay for it. Good job, Nintendo. Just ruined another part of my childhood. Had to go and mess up the Game Boy. Keep on typing.